Every founder I work with says pretty much the same thing in our first conversation. I don't want to be all over social media. I'm not trying to be an influencer and I don't want controversy. And I always tell them the same thing every single time. That's good because that's not what this is all about. Here's what it actually is all about. Right now, someone is looking you up. It might be a potential client who's been referred to you and wants to do their homework before they call you. Maybe it's a hire who's deciding whether to apply for a role you've advertised. It could be an investor, a collaborator, someone thinking about acquiring your business, maybe. And they're not waiting for a pitch deck or a proposal, or the very first meeting. They're Googling you or they're on LinkedIn. And in about 60 to 90 seconds, they've created an own view in their mind of who you are, whether you know what you're talking about, and whether they want to be in the same room with you, literally or metaphorically speaking. What they find in those 90 seconds matters more than most founders realize. And increasingly, what they're finding is AI content. Now, I know most of you have sat and tried it on a Sunday evening, LinkedIn guilt kicking in, haven't posted. So you go to ChatGPT, 20 seconds later, you've got a perfectly structured post about leadership that somehow says absolutely nothing about you. And it's boring, it's dull, and it might get a few likes. But the problem is, most people you want to impress, they can tell straight away. Not always consciously. Your ideal clients and your best candidates, the people who generally consider doing serious business with you, they spent decades reading people in meetings, negotiating tables, pitches, and they've got a finely tuned radar for authenticity, and they've been developing that their entire career. When they read something that was generated rather than written, they feel the absence of a person in it, a personality. It's smooth, generic, inoffensive, structured in exactly the way that real thinking usually isn't. And it tells them nothing about you and who you actually are, which is the problem. Because what they're not looking for is information. They can get information anywhere, it's endless. What they're looking for is context, great content, and the kind that's actually written in your voice from your experience to something AI content just can't do. It adds backstory, shows how you think. It gives people a reason to find you interesting and to trust you before you've ever met them. A potential client who's been reading your post for 6, 7, 8 weeks comes into a first meeting with trust already built. You're not starting from zero, you're starting from somewhere. And a strong candidate sees a founder's content and thinks, that's somewhere I want to work. Not because you've done a recruitment drive, because your content made the company feel real. An investor or potential acquirer finds someone whose content tells them you understand the market, you've got opinions worth hearing, and you've been around long enough to have made the mistakes that teach you things. None of that happens with generic AI content, because that content tells people what you do, and real content tells people who you actually are. And there's a significant difference. AI content is super polished. It's got a hook and 3 balance points and probably a question at the end that nobody really asked. And it reads like it was written by a committee that never met the person whose name is actually on it, because the reality is it was. And your ICP isn't looking for polished, looking for real people. They want to know what you've got, your opinions, what the mistakes that you made that brought you out the other side with something worth saying, that you've been in situations that they actually recognize. And that is what builds credibility online, not just endless output, not follower accounts, and not about going viral. Specificity, personality, stories that only you could tell. And that's why I built TTWIK, tell them what you know. My clients are established founders with 20, 25, 30 years of experience. They're credible in every room they walk into. They just don't have a system to make that credibility visible to people who haven't met them yet. The way we do it is simple. 1 recorded conversation a month. We capture how they actually talk, the real opinions, specific stories, the things they say to a good client over lunch or a coffee or in a meeting. And we turn that into a consistent flow of content that sounds unmistakably like them. It's not AI, it's not templated, it's the actual person. And when the right people look them up, the clients, the hires, the investors, the collaborators, the people who might be thinking about acquiring their business, what they find is someone they want to know. And that's so important today. That's the whole point. If that's something you want to talk about, the link's in the description. And if this landed with you, subscribe. There's more where this came from every week for founders who are tired of being invisible online. See you soon.